Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. I'm gonna give you my main Watcher build. This would be a mix of a fighter and a Chanter, the so-called War Caller. How strong is the build? Well, you can easily face tank mega bosses on Path of the Damned upscaling difficulty, the hardest difficulty in the game. Let's not waste time and let's go. Before we start with the video, I got a new channel about my cat. It's not a gaming channel, but it's a relaxing channel with a lot of gaming music, so you can chill out while doing something else. So, if you have a daughter, mother, sister, even your mother-in-law, recommend them the channel. They also gonna like it, as well as if you have cats. It will be something like a cat TV as well. Your cats will have fun too. Thanks up front for subscribing on a new channel. Let's go to the video. So, as far as the skills go, from level 1 to level 20, this all depends out of the team's setup. But in this case, what we want is high athletics and high survival. And we're gonna max those two out. That's the entire point with skills. Athletics, survival, until the very end. The first thing that we're gonna take is from the fighter. On level 2, we're taking the Discipline Barrage. And now we have both precision and we got knockout. So, next to the next level. Again, sticking athletics, survival, we say next. From the fighter class, we're taking fast runner for extra stride and defense while disengaging, and we say next. Next again, athletics, survival, next. On level 4, we're taking weapon and shield style. It doesn't matter if it's from Chanter or fighter, we just need to take this one. And off we go. Now here, what we're gonna take are fighter stances on level 4, and we're taking all three stances. The stance we're gonna use most of the time in the game would be the Guardian stance. Once you fight bosses, you're gonna switch to the Conqueror stance, and that's everything you need to know about the build so far. For the weapon of choice, we're taking the heavy shield. On level 5, sticking with athletics and survival. And now on level 5, we're going to the fighter and we're taking confident aim to convert grazes to hits with proficient weapons. Proficient weapons depend what you took in a character creation. If you took a flail, you play with flail. Longsword, you're gonna play with longsword, at least at the start of the game. Later on, we learn more weapon proficiencies, like 3 or 4 more, and you can wield multiple weapons with this perk. On level 6, athletics, survival, again we're going to the fighter, and this time we're taking determination, okay, for extra defenses. We say next, level 7, athletics, survival, and now what we're gonna take for the Chanter part will be extra will, bull's will. And for the fighter, we're taking rapid recovery. We're upgrading rapid recovery. Level 8, athletics, survival. We go to the fighter. And now there is hold the line from the fighter with +1 enemies engaged. If you go for hold the line, you will need to respec on level 20 to remove hold the line for better perks. This is very useful during the campaign. So useful if you also have it there to tank up, okay, so you attract more enemies. And it's highly recommended. But in the case of the mega late end game, you don't need hold the line. You have better benefits of upgrading some other skills, like for example Mule Kick to upgrade the knockdown. So we're gonna go with the Mule Kick, but consider taking hold the line until you respec for the very first time. The very first respec should be around level 15. Now for the weapon proficiencies, we can go with maces, swords, clubs. It's your choice basically. I recommend going for the maces. Level 9, we're taking athletics into survival. Again, we're going to the fighter. And now what we're gonna take for the fighter is the upgrade for the discipline barrage, and that would be discipline strikes, so we convert more of those grazes to hits and hits to crits. Is it good to go with tactical barrage as well? Yeah, it's great to go with tactical barrage, okay, for the mega late game against mega bosses, but during the campaign it's discipline strikes. Once you respec, you're gonna take tactical barrage later on in the game, level 20. On level 10, athletics and survival. And now for the Chanter part, we're gonna take fortitude. There is a reason for this why we're not taking Chanter spells. We want to be a mega tank, and this is the way to go. As far as the fighter part goes, it's also very simple. What we're gonna take now is resistance to resolve afflictions. Okay, so nothing can touch us as far as will goes. Will and resolve. Now we say next. On level 11, sticking with athletics and survival, we say next. Again we go to fighter, and this time we're taking weapon specialization. Extra crits with proficient weapons. Now we say next. On level 12, athletics, survival, we say next. Again we're going to the fighter. And now we're gonna take resists against might afflictions in this part. And we say next. For the weapon proficiency now, we can take longsword. Athletics, survival on level 13. And now for the Chanter part, we're taking tough, maximum health raised. And for the fighter part, during the campaign, we're gonna take Guardian Strike. Once you respec on level 20 and you hunt mega bosses, we're gonna take Conqueror Stance. And that's the entire point. So you will need to respec. First you're gonna use this one, and then you're gonna use this one. But what's the most useful thing on level 13? By far, it's Armored Grace. And we're gonna go with Armored Grace on level 13. On level 14, we're taking Athletics into Survival. In the Chanter part, we're taking Uncanny Luck. And we say next. Level 15, Athletics, Survival. We go to the Fighter, and we're gonna pick one out of these two. As I said previously, during the campaign is Guardian Stance, during Mega Bosses is Conqueror Stance. We're going for the Mega Late Game build, and we're taking Conqueror Stance in this case. Level 16, Athletics, Survival. And now we're gonna take a new song with the Chanter. That would be this one, to return health with damage dealt. In the fighter part, what we're gonna take now would be flat resist against spells. For the weapon proficiency, we can also take clubs. Level 17, athletics, survival. And now for the fighter part, we're taking superior deflection to raise deflection even further. Now we say next. Level 18, athletics, survival again. We're going to the fighter, and we're gonna take improved criticals. Level 19, athletics, survival. And now for the Chanter part, we're taking the first spell. In the beginning of the game, you were using Summon Shadow. In the late game, you're gonna use, I think it's Poleaxe and a longsword or an S-Stack. It doesn't matter, you summon 3 weapons, okay? It's one of the best summons in the game, if not the best summon in the game. This is like bread and butter of this build. You are a mega tank, you can face tank everything, and then you summon this 3 to deal damage instead of you, okay? For the fighter part, we are taking weapon mastery to increase damage even further with proficient weapons. And the last level, level 20, athletics, survival, we say next. And what we're gonna take now, you got two options with a fighter. The first option is unbreakable. If you find yourself dying, but you won't because I only got knocked out 4 times in the entire game, including all the mega bosses and all the side content in the game, arenas and so on. So I only got knocked out 4 times for the entire game. Most of those times, 4 times, like 3 times were in tutorial area when the game is actually the hardest and you're not an omega tank. But basically you're not dying, so maybe you could skip unbreakable and you can go with something like unstoppable, okay? So you get resist against might afflictions, against resolve afflictions, huge will, huge fortitude, huge reflex, and now resist against dexterity afflictions. You are a Chanter, bolstering up the entire team, summoning swords, and as well as being an omega tank with unstoppable. But again, if you have problems, then you take unbreakable. And for the weapon proficiency, as the last weapon, you can go with Warhammer. It really doesn't matter that much. You'll know what weapon you want to play with, and that's how you want to respec. You want to play with sword and board, or better to say mace and board, club and board, whatever weapon you like to play with. We're gonna pass through all weapons, by the way. So for the final weapon proficiency, we can also take, I don't know, a spear. The important thing is that you have medium and heavy shields. And this is how we finish up leveling the Warcaller. Now, as far as how do you play Warcaller and how does it go with Warcaller, basically you always want to be, if enemies are for example here, you always want to be first in line, soaking up damage, and everything you need to do is learn those chants, okay? This too, healing, okay? So you sing non-stop, trigger the chant, and that's about it. You soak up damage. Once the swords are available, you summon swords, I mean weapons, bow, axe and sword, and during the campaign, you're using Defender stance. During boss fights, you're using Conqueror stance. And that's about it. Weapons, yeah, you can also use weapons, reduce recovery for extra armor penetration and so on, so you can reduce enemies' defenses even further. Okay, as far as Watcher abilities go, use them at your own will. It doesn't matter that much. What you need to spam is, once the fight starts, Discipline strikes, and then you just knock out enemies with a mule kick. Very boring build, but you are basically indestructible, okay? You're the main tank, and everyone survives around you because of you, okay? And no one can deal damage to you as a Warcaller. Very, very good build. Now, as far as itemization goes, this is how I finished up the game and how I killed all mega bosses. Okay, so what I was using: Blackened Plate Helm, enemies engage, +1 perception to actually hit someone. Here I was using Protective Egotism Charm for perception and ability activates near death, Darkest Before Dawn, health recovery basically. For the armor, Guardian Plate, heavy armor. You always want to have heavy armor equipped on your character, doesn't matter what heavy armor. When you find heavy armor, that's the one you want to equip on this Chanter, on a Warcaller. For the rings, we are playing with Antonia's Signet Ring with all defenses, and we're playing with Chameleon's Touch, okay, with extra attributes and skills, +1 determined by the class. For the boots, classic armor rating and resolve. The higher the resolve, the better the defenses are. For the belt, again, might, crush armor rating, ability when near death, reforge the flesh, again healing when near death, okay? For the gloves, classic might, garrote, and burn armor rating. You see how freaking strong those defenses are? For a good reason. You are a mega tank, okay, especially when buffed by priest. It gets quite crazy. For the trinket, we're using Celestial Agitator, and for the cape, we're using classic Fortitude, Reflex, Will +10. And for the pet, due to resolve, the best pet in the game by far for a tank would be Eevee. Yeah, because the bigger the resolve, the stronger you are. Or better to say, the more damage you can soak up. Now, what about weapons and shield? For the weapon, I was using Frostfall. It's crazy good for the end game. During the campaign, I was using Modveer the most. Heavy shields, the best heavy shield for the mega late game would be Wintertide Bulwark, and I was using Shining Bulwark most of the time in campaign, as well as Cadus Cult. Okay, so you can pick. Also a very good shield would be Letandria's Devotion. So you got 4 shields to pick from, what you can use. Everything is valid, basically. Also, if you wanna play for enemies engaged, you can play with Kapana Taga, or you can play with a Grave Calling if you pick Saber in weapon proficiency, because it's quite good. Okay, what are also good weapons that you can consider in the game? It's the Soulbound Magistrate Cutgull, and there's plenty of other weapons, but again, this is the best one. This is what you should look for. This is what you should aim for in the DLC with Ice. I forgot the name of the DLC already, but that's what it is. You can find it easily there. I think the name of the DLC was Beast of Winter. Anyways, that would be the build for the War Caller. Again, you can face tank mega bosses. So there is nothing stronger than that, I guess. Yeah, because most of the mega bosses have an ability to one-shot. As far as classic campaign goes, classic enemies and so on, you're gonna attract like 5-6 enemies at the same time on you, and you're gonna so-called damage up. You're gonna tank them up while others deal damage. If you enjoyed the video and find it helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Check out my other channel as well, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching.